Alright, so I'm gonna be playing this battle here. So it's basically this army, pretty experienced Yaris, Naginatas, and bows against most of this. So we have, let's just do the attack order. So we'll be facing the first army here, which is basically just Yaris, Ashigaru spam with few elite units, followed by this army, which is very dangerous: Katana Samurai, Yari Samurai, Bow Samurai, and Yari Ashigaru. So this is a pretty strong force. And then they're supported by another army filled with Naginata Samurai, Bow Samurai, and Yaris. And then there's that. So let's play it. Alright, so we'll start with the battle. Skip this bullshit. This is a post-replay commentary. So I already played the battle, and I'm just gonna add some commentary over it. Now, I played this battle 2 times before. I just wanted to see how they deployed, and usually there's a force that comes to my left or my right, so it's either or. And it depends kind of where you place your troops. But the best thing to do was always to place on the hill. And I think that was the smartest thing to do. Hills are safe. So I tried to bait the cav here to my general. That's really easy. You bait him in. The problem is that if there's a spear unit in between the general and the cav unit, so yeah, if there's a unit between the two, it won't work. So do be wary of that. Immediately, you can see that it's like the Katana army that's reinforcing, that's coming up. And luckily, the Naginatas have so much XP that the Katanas just won't do much. And I've only lost 2 men so far, and I've wiped 2 units, or close to 2. Yeah, this is probably the worst fight that I took, I think, in the game, during the battle, because I lost so many Yaris here due to the they got charged by Naginatas in the flank. So I lost a lot of them here, but it's really hard to sort of organize your force and to... I didn't click Yari well. That's really what really screwed me over. And here I'm just checking my rear, making sure nothing spawns. And the units are basically routing. As you can see, that Katana unit just broke. It's just so many stats, and they're being fired, stand and fight, so bonus stats and all that. Good shit. So that gets defeated easily. Kill the gen, easy peasy. So we were just mocking up and waiting for the main force to come to attack. So despite us being the attacker, the AI wants to save its reinforcements. So they will come in to help them out as long as you stay in melee contact. So you have to maintain the aggression for the most part. And once the AI is kind of committed to the attack, I do think that they continue. I expected the unit to rout here as soon as the sort of models here are circling about, but that didn't happen. And here we see more Katanas and Yaris, and that's where I decided to just take the highest part of the hill and just camp it. There's not much. You can't really not camp it, at least for the first wave, because by the time the second wave comes in, because we're facing 80 units, remember, right? So it's a bit difficult, and I have to maintain sort of fatigue. You don't want your cav to be too fatigued, or else they're basically trash in melee. So yeah. So I'm moving here my Naginatas. I see that the Katanas are over there, so I moved my best Naginatas to counter that. And I'm basically just trying to square up new box, whatever you want to call it. Making sure that my stand and fight is going to capture the entire army. Like my entire line. And here I'm seeing that the katanas are moving in like really aggressively, so I form up Yari wall and move to guard mode. I'm satisfied with how the general's placed. As you can see, it's a pretty massive army. A lot more units. I don't even think this is a full stack here. I don't like high bow armies. I don't think that they're the best type of armies you can get. I think armies, like high XP armies, are really what you want in Shogun 2. Anything else is a waste of time. Like, I would take 2 units of high XP katanas over all these bows, personally. These bows just do nothing. I guess they're only good in sieges. That's when you would really want them, but other than that, it's really useless. And I really needed to sort of prevent this charge from happening, and I'm kind of sleeping here on the cav. And my Getana cav was the first unit, so I'm just like, man, just send in these Boashigaru. They still have good stats. They're Oda bows for the most part. Except for that one, actually, if you remember. But the melee is going so well because there's so much cav, and we have uphill fight, and they're in the woods, so... Yeah, I lost a lot of katana cav here, and I don't know why, but there we have it. It seems like the... Oh, I was going to say maybe they're just not charging the center, but yeah, they're thickest in the center. So here I'm just trying to create like an envelopment. Given that their rear attack failed, I can easily flank here. I did lose a lot of cavalry to that unit, which is really unfortunate, but there we... Yeah, not much you can do against it, you know. And my Naginatas here are holding really, really well. And that's what they do. Naginatas hold flanks like no other. Because they're high melee defense, good armor, and they're pretty decent at trading. Here I'm just going to charge. I wanted to move forward because I wanted to take advantage of the slope. And here I'm sending in my bows into melee. Hopefully they can get like slight surrounds, just of how like slight like flank attacks, just based on how they're going to charge in. And we're getting the mass route that we want. It's that stupid unit of bow cav that's preventing me from just overwhelming, or slowing my attack down. But our melee stats are so good that we're able to push them about. And here, that flank here with those Yaris, I think, we're starting to get a mass rout on the entire army. It's beautiful. Sadly, my general lost his cav unit, so I can't use him as a supporting unit anymore, like as a support, like as a cavalry unit. Making sure to move everything off Yari. And we got the mass route, so now it's just chasing everything. So that's crazy. I was super happy with this. So right now I'm just trying to kill as many as possible, but they're still pouring out. It's just so annoying. So I feel as though I've got to like reform my line. Forcing the cavalry to make them rout. It's a complete mess. Trying to reform Yari wall. And at this point I'm feeling super confident. I feel like the battle's almost over because I basically routed the entire army at once, so I'm like, I won. But I look over, maybe not here, but eventually I look over and I see like a full fucking stack that just spawned again. And I'm just trying to get my cav to chase as much as possible, but the AI kind of split his army here, and I'm facing a small contingent on the right. It's mainly composed of bow samurai, and I think that's just bow samurai. There's a few katanas, a few yaris actually. There's like 2-3 units of yaris. And I don't want to run down the hill, because if I run down the hill, the bow samurai will pick me apart, especially with the Yari Ashigarus, due to their low armor. So I'm content with just trading while in the trees. I need my cavalry to support. I can't fight until the cav arrives. So till then we just gotta wait. I still kept most of my Naginatas intact, so that's good shit. And the AI is basically reforming an entire stack. It's really unfortunate because what happened was the...
Ça, un autre genre.
No, so... Yeah, I should go. And then... So yeah, we're just trading here, but not much is happening. And the spears aren't being aggroed to my cav, so I'm just like, okay, it's time to take the charge. I use this unit of Yaris to screen. And I think, yeah, then I send the units of Naginatas to charge in. I'm still thinking that the AI is going to attack here because kind of what happened last time. So what you could do is one thing you can do is you can charge towards the unit in front of it so that the cav kind of charges more aggressively. Sort of the whole block is like wavering. There's so much XP, the charge does so much damage. They also have bonus charge here, I could see. So yeah. So here I'm reforming up the line. Fast forwarding here because I need to make sure my units stop being so fatigued. But man, oh man, this is a big ass army I'm going to be facing. So I'm just waiting here. I'm like, are they going to attack? Are they not going to attack? And I'm kind of tripping because well, I don't feel completely confident in an attack, but if that's what I have to do, that's what I'm gonna do. So after surveying the field, I feel like the left side is better than the right. And if you were to ask me why, I would tell you because those units are clumped up. Because they're clumped up, I can get a mass route, while it's on the right, it's a steeper hill. I do have the cover of the trees, so I can nullify bows, but I can do the same thing on the left. And the terrain is slightly more even on the left than on the right. So I believe that my plan of attack is to route the entire army through a dedicated attack on the left flank of the second army. And that's my plan. Here I'm just checking how fatigued are they. We're still over 50% strength on all of my units, I think. Except for one unit of bows and one unit of cav. But everything else is over 50%, so that's pretty good. So here the AI starts to shift his army, and I find that annoying because if he shifts his army, it's like it's a massive army. Look at that. So big. But I think you want to keep him in that formation, so I'm just trying to organize my line here, but it's complicated because when you fast forward, your clicks don't register in a good way. Alright, so yeah, and then just get the general stuff. The general force. So I basically split my army in two here. And I'm just brain dead, so I fuck up the micro again. I don't know why the double clicking just doesn't work when you fast forward. It's just shit, but it's also my fault, so here we are. There we go, we got a thin line. So many dead corpses. Yeah, it's my Zippo lighter. So I'm still feeling pretty confident. The balance of power, if you look at it, it's like 3 to 2. That's kind of what it looks like. I still have a lot of time, so I'm just gonna fast forward, make sure my cav gets fresh, because they're gonna be lifting. They're gonna be carrying me, you know, so I'm a big boy. Alright. So one thing you also would like I like to do is I like to attack when the AI is shifting his army. So because he's in a defensive stance now, he won't move until you begin attacking him. So what you want is you want to attack when he's shifting his lines, because he's disorganized, everything's kind of blobbing, and so you can route multiple groups of infantry at once. Like one unit all by itself is sometimes more dangerous than a group of units together. And so I'm trying to get as many units to blob up together because I want to eliminate his army as a single, like I want to eliminate his army in a single stroke. So when I see this shifting happening, I'm not really liking what I'm seeing because it's not exactly what I want, but I'll still take it because they're in one column. I think that's the problem. They're in one like one successively after the other, but I'd rather face them. You want to face them in a perpendicular fashion, I suppose, not head on. So because perpendicular, you get you get a flank charge. And I got really annoyed here because I see a unit of Yari Samurai. And Yari Samurai, you know, despite being a shit melee unit, they still have strong morale. And so I'm not even thinking when I'm playing this like about the quality of, like if it's a katana unit or whatever. Like that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is what's that unit's morale. And a samurai unit usually does not bode well for me. So here I'm pulling back and I'm running away. And I want to run away because I want to fight at the top of the hill, because then I get the combat bonus. And crazy how the unit of bows managed to outrun Yari Samurai on fast and rapid advance. But I charge here, and the reason why I use the bows to screen is because I don't care about whether or not they die. I want to keep as my Naginatas as alive for as much as possible. So here I'm hitting his Yaris with arrows because I want to force them in. But once I get this unit to rout, it's time. You gotta charge, and you gotta charge decisively. So I'm looking here. I'm just waiting for it to rout. As soon as it routs, it's going to cascade towards the other unit, and they're gonna see their friends routing, and that's gonna affect them. So as soon as I see this, I just charge in with the rest of my army, or I guess force right into that unit of bows. Naginatas are going to be able to route a unit of Yaris without too much difficulty. That charge was devastating. Also, you gotta remember there's no generals. All the generals have basically routed. So I see here wavering, and I charge with the bows, and see that entire block is just now wavering all by itself. I send everything into melee, and everything's just wavering. And once it wavers, just keep you pull through and you attack. So you just break the entire thing all by itself. And that's how you do it. Now, he still has like 2/3 of his army, so I have to be careful. If they get caught by a unit of spears, it's over. So always keep the cav with it to bait his spears, and then you circle around. So the cav is kind of just moving in a circle. They charge in to flank, and then they pull back out right through your unit of spears, and then they charge again. And that's kind of what I'm doing, if you notice. It's poetic. Poetic as fuck. So you see him circling back. And that's kind of how you want to do it. And now that I see that his army is sufficiently broken, I charge in the rest of the force. I see that there's vulnerability here with the spears. So charge in. Naginatas are still complete tanks. They don't get any damage from Yaris that aren't in Yari walls, so it's just easy peasy for them. It'd be even worse if they were monks. And I think it's right around here that the entire army breaks. I don't remember. Yeah, so you can see the entire army just starts to waver, and I'm just like, oh, charge. And that's it. That's basically how I did it. It's pretty cool. Continue. And yeah, and then it's just getting all the stragglers. I'll post maybe a screenshot of, yeah, I'll post a screenshot of the final result, but yeah, that's basically how you do it. It's not that hard. Yeah, and this is why I think Shogun 2 is such a special game, because you're able to pull off maneuvers like this. Like, I can't do this in Warhammer 2, because the game just doesn't enable you to sort of use units like this, you know, in such a manner. Like, I don't think I cheesed. Like, I didn't use like a noob tactic, really. Like, you could say that I noob squared for a bit, but I mean, it wasn't even a square. Like, I had cav on my rear, so and when I attacked, I sort of utilized most of my army to keep the other one at bay while I attacked their flank. So it's just tactics, and it's the AI's fault for not being able to adapt. If the AI was more competent, like if it was like a decent player, like I would have retreated, obviously, but you know, when you kill the generals and you attack an army without a general, there's like a morale penalty, so you really have to use these things to your advantage. Just be mindful of it, and you'll always have success. So look at that. I have like 2 units with like 1,000 kills, I think. Great soundtrack too, you know. It's like 1,100. $1,100 on this Yuri cap as well. I think it's about at this point that I got bored. I'm like, yeah, this has gone on for long enough. Checking all the stats. It's crazy. Actually, it's so crazy because when I would check them, like, it was really easy to see, but now when I look back at it, it's kind of tough. I went so fast. Just, you know where your mouse is headed. The audience doesn't. Yeah, and then these are the corpses. I think thousands died. Close my eyes. Fucking hell. That's depressing. But yeah, let's just see here. Stats. So 1182 lost, 7,000 killed, 1,500 remaining, 4,000. So we went from about close to like a 4-1, I think, and we left at about a 3-1, well, over a 3-1. So we treated really well. A lot of XP was gained. 2 units with over 1,000 kills, 1 with 1,900. It's crazy. Man, I don't know how the Kev still had fucking energy to keep lunging that spear, man. Alright, thank you for watching. Hope y'all have a good day.